Finally, the best of 2014 in film. This is my opinion, so we don't have to argue, but I wanted to share just the top 10, at least films that I enjoyed the most from this past year. So let's get this started with number 10, Snowpiercer. Now, Snowpiercer was a movie that I really didn't know what to expect, but man, was I happy that I watched this movie. The acting, Chris Evans as the main character, showed a lot of different emotions here, a lot of just range with this character, that he wasn't the greatest guy. This one rich man used all of his money to build this long train that holds everyone that's left and still alive in the world, and just seeing the different classes and the ranking system on the train. Coming in at number 9, The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. And till the very last second, I was trying to decide whether I was going to keep this on my top 10 list, because when I first saw this in the movie theater, I left not disappointed, but I felt like I wanted more. But that was the point. It's called Part 1. They want you to see all of these themes get built up, come to a head, and then a year later, come back and see all that stuff paid off. I understand that. What we have in this movie is certainly a lot to think about and talk about. Just everything that Katniss has gone through. Now she's been through 2 Hunger Games, and she's all screwed up. At the beginning of this movie, she can't sleep, and she's going through post-traumatic trauma. I love that. I love how there is some consequences to what these people have been through, and just the whole politicking, Julianne Moore and Philip Seymour Hoffman trying to use Katniss as a symbol to wake everyone up, get them motivated to want to fight back. At number 8, this might come as a bit of a surprise, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I know there are people who just don't like this movie at all. They don't like this new franchise. Fine. No reason to argue about that, because there's nothing I'm going to say to change your mind, nor do I want to change your mind. That's not why I make these type of videos. I don't want to change people's minds. I just want to let them know why I like it. And first things first, Andrew Garfield, I think, is the best thing about these newer movies. I do love him as Peter Parker. I think he's a great actor. I think he plays the character very well and differently. And him and Gwen Stacy, their relationship, if nothing else, their relationship I cared about. A lot of that has to do with how much I love Emma Stone. She's so great. How much she's willing and able to help Spider-Man, especially towards the end of the film. Sure, this movie does suffer from similarly what Spider-Man 3 did, with too many villains, too much going on. I can't deny that. Electro should have been the main focus, the main villain. Dan DeHaan, I've grown to appreciate him more as this character, as somebody who, you know, he's had a pretty crappy childhood, clearly. And as much as I think we should have had more of an established friendship between him and Peter, I do like that. I mean, maybe it's different just for the sake of being different, but it is different. And you have them connecting on a level of feeling abandoned by their parents and coming together. Now, at number 7, I don't even know how many people saw this movie, but Veronica Mars. I could not believe that they made a Kickstarter, made the money that they wanted to make this movie, which was like $5 million. They made it in a record-setting, like 2 days or something crazy like that. So the demand was there for this movie to get made. For people who don't know, Veronica Mars was a TV show, and I like the show. I have them on DVD. I think it's a funny show, while still having some cool murder mystery type stuff to it. Kristen Bell is great as the character. The fact that the show was canceled after season 3 prematurely, so it didn't get a definitive ending at all, left on a cliffhanger, which sucked. It was awesome. it's been so long, but they still were able to connect it. They still were able to make it feel like this is a continuation. And even if we never get another movie or anything else to continue from this point, it feels like closure. It feels like what we deserved as fans of the show. Coming in at number 6, Gone Girl. Wow, Gone Girl is amazing. I shouldn't be surprised because of David Fincher. I love that guy as a director. His movies are very dark and some would say cynical, but sometimes you need movies to be just blunt and real with how some people are and just how fucked people are in the head. The performances alone are enough to praise. Ben Affleck. For anyone who still shits on this guy, because people still shit on Ben Affleck as an actor. I don't get it. I'm not saying he was always the greatest actor, but to say this now, in 2014, is ridiculous. Watch him in this movie. Rosamund Pike, who plays the missing wife, is beyond great. Number 5, Interstellar. Surprise, surprise, right? I know when this movie came out, it's probably, maybe, Christopher Nolan's most polarizing movie, or most divided as far as what people think about it. Some people love it to death, and some people maybe not hate. Hate isn't the best word, but they definitely didn't like it. Not as much as I did. And upon hearing their criticisms, I'm not one of the Nolan fanboys who are like, you didn't like this? Fuck you. No, I hear them out. And some of their criticisms, I understand. I totally understand. But I still love this movie. I still love the ambition behind it. Matthew McConaughey, he's great. The resurgence this guy's had in his career is almost too good to be true. How did that happen? Anne Hathaway, Michael Caine, there's so many great actors in this movie. There's a surprise appearance from an actor that I still don't want to give away, just in case. But when I saw this person, I was like, holy crap! That's awesome. It's too much to talk about right now. It really is. I'd be here for 3 hours, which was the length of the movie. And some people I heard say that they couldn't get past that it was too long for them, that the middle part dragged. I'm being completely honest. I'm not just saying this. I was in the theater. I never checked my watch. I never felt the need to check my watch. I enjoyed this all the way through. No issues, no problems with the time at all. And I went into this fully expecting to be at least a little bored at some point. Never happened. Number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy. Here's another wow. Because some of my friends especially would say, of course, it's Marvel. Of course I'm going to love it. I guess I'm a Marvel fanboy. But when you first heard that they were doing Guardians of the Galaxy, you said, what? Really? How random. And now you realize how inspired it was, how much of a risk it was, but how much did it pay off? This movie is one of the highest grossing movies of the year. And who would have predicted that? How hilarious was it when so many people before this came out were saying it's probably going to bomb because nobody knows it, nobody cares, who knows if it's even going to be all that great, and they just were so cynical. I love that this movie not only performed so well, but was as great as it was. I loved so much stuff about this film. The humor was something that was a great, refreshing feeling. That's what I love about the Marvel movies, is that you go into them and you have fun. Who knew that Rocket Raccoon would be one of the coolest characters to come from this movie? It's a talking raccoon, voiced by Bradley Cooper, no less. And oh yeah, Zoe Saldana is even hotter as a green alien. Just saying. Coming in at number 3, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Man, was I shocked by this movie, because I liked Rise, but this movie took it to a whole new level. I loved getting more of the apes and their home, this environment that they've built for themselves, their new civilization, Caesar being the leader and him having a family, Koba, who, you know, obviously the crap he's been through in the first movie, you understand why he doesn't trust humans, doesn't like humans, but to see the infighting between that. To see him stirring the pot and trying to get the apes against humans, and that's almost what starts this war. Wow. I'm talking about a movie with ape characters, and I'm this engaged into the plot, into the characters and the motivations, and I haven't even gotten to the humans yet. Wow! And then when you get to the humans, I'm not saying that they're the most developed, fleshed out humans ever. I'm not saying that. But I still cared about them. Jason Clarke, Gary Oldman. Coming in at number 2, X-Men Days of Future Past. Thank God that Bryan Singer came back to this franchise. I don't know what it is about Bryan Singer and the X-Men that he can just come in. This combination just fits perfectly. He gets the characters, but he also knows how to fit it into a way where it's not too over the top and goofy, I guess. And the fact that they did the Future Past storyline, something I almost never thought I'd see on screen. I loved seeing the Sentinels, finally. I loved that we came to a point with this franchise that we were even in a position to have the original cast and the new cast all in one movie, that you can't get any better than that. I remember the Comic-Con, watching that and seeing all of the actors in that long lineup, and I just could not believe what I was seeing. It was a who's who of actors, great actors, and the fact that they all wanted to come back to this franchise. Let's talk about Quicksilver. How can you not talk about this guy? Because I admit I too kinda, I don't want to say shitted, but I did think he looked goofy in the pictures beforehand with his clothes, and I just thought, alright, this is looking a little too hokey. But you see him in the movie, and man, does he have one of the most memorable scenes in this film, and entertaining. He's funny. You wanted more of this character. Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. We know she's a great actress, but she really brought a different layer to Mystique. The fact that basically this whole movie was about trying to save her soul, trying to stop her from going to the dark side and making a better person out of her. I love that. I never cared more about her as a character. Seeing the future stuff and how the mutants were being killed off one by one, seeing our original cast be killed off, sucked. It did on an emotional level. But then that ending. Holy fuck, that has to be the greatest ending to a superhero movie of all time. Maybe because of the shit we as X-Men fans have gone through, seeing The Last Stand especially, Brett Ratner killing off so many of the X-Men characters, and you just kind of scratch your head like, what the fuck are you doing? Just because you think this is the last movie, why are you killing off all of these characters? But of course this movie fixes all that, and it's the most satisfying thing ever. I clapped, I cheered, I hollered in the theater. It was amazing. Great stuff. But as for my #1 all-time favorite film of 2014, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I love this movie. I don't even know where to begin with this, because you have Chris Evans, who has proven time and time again how perfect he is as Captain America, Steve Rogers. At this point, I can't picture anyone else playing this character. Scarlett Johansson, I cannot complain about them putting her in more movies as Black Widow. In fact, I welcome it. Put her in every single Marvel movie, because she's great. She's great. Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. I was grateful for how much of Nick Fury we got in this film. So much going on with him and S.H.I.E.L.D. And let's talk about S.H.I.E.L.D. How many of us went into this movie? Maybe it was just me, but I've talked to some people who said the same thing. I did not expect that S.H.I.E.L.D. would be infiltrated by Hydra, and that it was the case for the last 70 years. Like, goddamn, and they were responsible for so much of this underhanding stuff that went on over the years in the government. It was amazing what the writers were able to pull off with the script to make it that much better, to make this whole universe that much better. They changed everything with one movie, and it wasn't even an Avengers movie. Wow. But then you have the Winter Soldier himself, Bucky, who, I don't want to say stole the show, but he damn sure made it even better. He was so badass at the beginning. He was Terminator-like, where he just had no emotion. Just that stone cold look on his face. Like the moment when he catches the shield and then the fights he has with Captain America. And then when he does start to get his memories back and when he is conflicted about who Cap is. Sure, I like the Winter Soldier as almost a mindless killing machine just because he's scary. But then when you get the layers and dimensions and some characterization to him, then you connect to him, you relate to him. And it's just, that's how you build a villain, a character. This is one of the best superhero movies of all time. And I love that Marvel isn't slacking. They're not resting on their laurels. They're not saying, alright, we've already done Avengers, so from this point on, let's just coast. No, they're making their movies better and better, and I cannot wait to see what the next 5 or 10 years, whatever it is, what that has in store for us. So guys, clearly it has been one hell of a year for movies. I'm leaving off plenty of movies off the list. I'm perfectly aware of that, but that's where you guys come in. Let me know in the comments below, not only what did you think of my best of list, but what are some of your favorite movies from this past year. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for my worst of. Holy crap, there'll be a lot of swearing and ranting in that one. Later!